This morning I was going to be speaking to you from Ben Ord. I was going to climb Ben Ord, but today the snow and the rain and the wind are blowing like mad. So you going fishing?
Yep.
Salmon?
No, trout.
I don't eat fish now.
You not?
I'm a vegan.
Oh, the hell with that.
Well, somebody's got to do it.
I suppose. Alright, fishing later.
It's a good day for fishing. Yeah, where was it? I was going to be talking to you about being up Glen Orb. It's fucking blowing a gale up there. But this is an important message. There's a number of important messages. I've been pissing about with videos here, there and everywhere. I'm going to call this The Invasion, Part 1, Volume 1. This country, the country of Scotland, which I was born in, it's been invaded. You don't read about it in the papers, and especially the papers like the Rothschild Journal, so-called paper, and the North Star, so-called newspaper. All you read in there is about guy beats wife, guy drinks and drives, tourists found on Ben Webber's snowed under. They don't do investigative journalism. For example, I did a video I just walked past today a pothole in Balbear Road here, which is the biggest hole in Russia. The councillors have been told countless times. The other day I was in Dingwall and I walked into Ian Blackface, MP, SNP MP, useless twat. I said to him again about the pothole in Balbear Road, and yet we see a councillor with a shovel planting bloody apple trees. Now, we've got enough apple trees in Scotland. I've got one here in the garden, which you saw earlier. But she's with a shovel planting bloody apple trees at great expense to the taxpayer, while potholes which she could be shoveling full of tar and stuff are left undone. But to get back to the point, I was at a meeting talking about the invasion. I was at a meeting in Dingwall of the Highland refugee group, gangsters. There was 50 people there. There was 4 Ward 8 Highland councillors. There was Highland Council employees. There was NHS Highland. There was Police Scotland. Talking of Police Scotland, a couple of months ago I phoned the police 999. At 7 p.m. at night, my life was under threat. When did Police Scotland come? I'll give you a moment to guess. Police Scotland appeared at my door at 10 a.m, which is, let me count that up, 7 and, no, 5 and 10 is, let me get it, 15 hours later than when I first called them. Now, anyway, I was at this meeting, the Highland Refugee Council, and I showed you heart-rending pictures of people drowning in the Mediterranean. Now, I've sailed the Mediterranean in many types of vessels. I've sailed many types of vessels, but I wouldn't go to sea in the Mediterranean with life belts that were made of cardboard, and they were selling the people these life belts made of cardboard and overcrowded little rubber dinghies, blow-up things. So they were sailing in that, you know, and then we were all drowning, and the kids were drowning on the beach. I mean, taking your kids on that type of boat, they wouldn't be allowed in Scotland. Health and safety would be right on you. So anyway, all these gangsters at this meeting of 50 people, it was in the football club in Dingwall, you know, going, oh yeah, we've got to help these poor people. Well, you could help them by giving them proper safety equipment for a start. Or telling them not even to come here, but to go to Saudi or some other place. So anyway, after the wee bit film and the little chat, it was question time, and I got to ask how many people had read the Quran. There's 50 people here. Not one of them had read the Quran. Not one of them. And I was a bit shocked by this. Now, I've sailed with many Muslims on ships. I've been in many Islamic countries, including Egypt, Aden, oh God, Israel, if you like, and many other ones, Casablanca, and oh God. So I met many good Muslims, yeah. But these people had not read the Quran, and they're talking about Islam. Now, you can't talk about Islam without having read the Quran. It's that simple. You can't talk about Christianity without having read the Bible. I've read the Bible and the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita, which is from Hinduism and so forth. The Upanishads, you know. So I know a bit about religion. I am God, we are God, you are God, everything is God. A lot of people don't agree with that, but I do. Now, the corruption, get away cat, you fucking black bitch. The corruption in Highland Council is beyond a joke. And of course the newspapers, so-called newspapers mentioned earlier, get a lot of advertising, wee stories from the council. But here in Murrayford, for example, the community council, which used to be well chaired by Frances McGrew, except on one occasion when she got the police on me and got the police to throw me out of a public meeting for speaking at a public meeting. I was asking to video the community council, which it should be, because the Highland Council is videoed, the Parliament in Scotland in Edinburgh is videoed, the Parliament in London is videoed, the Parliament in Strasbourg is videoed, the Parliament in Russia is videoed, North Korea videos and puts online its Parliament, but Community Council of Murrayford doesn't. Another thing about the Community Council is if you go on Cromarty's Community Council website, you'll get names and addresses of every councillor. You'll get the email addresses of every councillor that has email. You'll get the phone number of every community councillor that gets email. Go on to, if you can find it, Murrayford Community Council website and look for their email address. Look for a phone number. Look for the name of. At the last time I looked the other day, they still had Frances McGrew's name on it. And I'm surprised that this leftist that's in charge of the community council doesn't have his name in bold on the community council bit of the hub website. I'll just break off to give a small announcement. There's a meeting in the shop in Inverness, the Flat Earth shop, which is at 2 Greg Street. That's immediately over the Wobbly Bridge, which is very scary. 2 Greg Street. And Saturday the 19th of May, there will be a video show from 6 till 7. And after that, at 7 p.m, there'll be a talk and discussion. And Richard gave me this advice and told me I'm very welcome. If I can transport up, I might just walk up to Inverness. And afterwards there'll be tea and cakes and dancing and singing and a bit of a, well, orgy, he said, but I don't know if that's correct. So that's it, the Saturday the 19th of May at 2 Greg Street. Over the Wobbly Bridge, first left the shops there. I probably will go. I haven't been in the shop for weeks since I fell out with him. And I get people phoning me up at 4 in the morning saying, did you put these posters around Inverness, destroying Inverness? Well, no. I've nothing to do with this shop, you silly twat. And I think I got him straight, you know. He's moaning to me about posters in Inverness, you know. I've got enough on my plate without that. But the thing is, the main point, the main thrust of this is, Suki, come here. The main thrust of this is the invasion and what you are doing about it. People laugh and think, what's he talking about, invasion? We're invaded by leftists. The same people that were at the Highlands support for refugees are the same people that said, yeah, we've got to welcome diversity. No, we don't. We're Scottish, we're different, we wear the kilts. Often. Islam, when you've read the Quran, is not your friend. I'm sorry, but that's just it. Individual Muslims are jolly nice chaps. And some of the women are quite attractive. In fact, in the Muslim countries, I met quite a few girls, attractive girls. Not all of them, but some of them. And not all of them cheap, by the way. But it was the same everywhere I went. America, Australia, Japan, West Africa. I long for these days. And sailing my yacht round to the West Coast and various countries there. Girls on Mull and Cana, a place ruined by plastic on the beach. It just seems to collect there for some reason, tides. But so there's a hidden agenda going on here. The Islamists and the leftists are taking over our council and stopping free speech. Now, Tommy Robinson had a free speech rally in London at the weekend, I believe. I just saw the YouTube videos of Anne-Marie Waters and various other well-known people. And free speech is what my father fought for during the war. He was in Tobruk and El Alamein fighting for freedom of speech against the evil Nazis. And he was gravely injured. And the Germans, God bless them, let the ambulances through the lines So my father got in an ambulance and he got through the German lines to the hospital, and his life was saved. And my father had broken his ankle playing football against his team, his soldiers. You know, he was a sergeant. But, you know, he did his bit for the country. He played football for Glasgow in El Alamein. And I was up at Kingass Cemetery up the hill, and there's a gravestone there. And a guy was like a colonel or something. And he was buried up there, and I thought, I mean, did he know my father? Did he get him the ambulance? The guy was dead, you know, he was up in the gravestone up there. They might have known my father, you know, that would have been nice. But, so, our real men fought during the war, you know, and when you think about the convoys, the merchant seamen, well, I wouldn't have been a merchant seaman during the war. I would have been a conscientious objector and I'd be up in the hills or something. But no, I wouldn't, honest. I would be out there in the front line with an Uzi. I learned to fire an Uzi in Israel. I was there for 6 months. And some of the guys on the kibbutz were in the UDF, and some of the girls with attractive uniforms and their Uzis. But anyway, that's another story for another time. So, you know, anyway, the free speech rally went very well and it went viral, you know, because people are just getting fed up with no free speech. We can't say about trans people or lesers or people of that ilk. You know, it used to be that you joked about. There's a guy from Liverpool who used to joke about, well, I don't think they had lasers in those days, but they used to joke about poofters and that type of thing. Nowadays he would be immediately dispatched to the re-indoctrination facilities. I mean, the Germans were criticised for the re-indoctrination facilities, and the Russians were into re-indoctrination, and the Chinese, and the British weren't really, because we didn't read about it, you know. Maybe the South African, I was in South Africa, Cape Town. The South African, the Boers were re-indoctrinated quite heavily by the British, and I think it was the British that started it. I'm not well up in history, I just know what I like, you know. And I do like Scotland, the northern part of it. It's a bit cold and windy and the snow's coming down here and I'm getting snowed over, snowed under. I'm getting snowed under with requests from girls about how to be a flat earther. Well, girls, flat earth is just a concept. Flat earth is about everything. It's not about the shape of the earth. I don't give a fuck what shape the earth is. But the fact is it's not a round, spheroid, oblate spheroid football. That for a fact. I've seen the proofs. 200 proofs by Eric DeBay. I've sailed around the world, if you like. Well, I've sailed around the continents to Australia, Africa, Japan, Canna Island, Rum Island. I've been around. Me and Suki the cat were rescued at the Mulligan-Tyre. I was nearly dead that day. And that day I said, if you Google Suki Shafa, which was the name of my luxury yacht, in Mullaghkintyre. It blew up a foresight, and that day I dedicated my life to Scotland. Like Mel Gibson, you know. What a good Scotsman he is, you know, he doesn't get all the praise he deserves. Scotland, he says, you know, in his inimitable way. Well, we've got to do that for Scotland. Flat Earth now, as you know, you may have read my website, which is, I can never remember it, flatearthhighlands.org. flatearthhighlands.org. Loch Ness is 24 miles long, which I've sailed many, many times, and Suki has as well. Suki, come here. Don't fuck with the tripod. And it's 24 miles long. Now, the curvature of the Earth, there's a curvature calculator online, there's several. And the Earth curves at 8 inches for every mile. And if you put the 24 miles in, you end up with 337 foot, because it's 8 inches per mile, squared, whatever. I'm not the maths chap. Anyway, 337 feet below Fort Augustus. Yeah, Fort Augustus should be below the curvature. Well, it's not. I've sailed in many canals. The Suez, the Panama, the Kiel, the Gotha, the Crinan, Forth and Clyde, and several others. And they're all flat. And particularly the Suez, which is 100 miles long. Now, it goes from the Mediterranean to the Red Sea. Now, you'd think the water would rush downhill and go into the Red Sea. Well, it doesn't, because it's all flat. The water is flat. Now, I'm not saying the Earth's flat. I've got a video on YouTube. It's called The Bumpy Flat Earth. The Bumpy Earth. It's bumpy, it's not flat. It's quite bumpy up in the Highlands, up north Aleppo there, where I was a month ago. But Flat Earth is just an umbrella organisation. It's not an organisation, it's individuals. And this differs from most organisations. It's purely individuals. You might hear of the Flat Earth Society. The Flat Earth Society are a bunch of gangsters who are paid by NASA to spread disinformation. And people go, oh, the Flat Earth Society, are you a member of that? No, that's a freaking evil NASA thing. I got my first computer in 1995, when they were just invented, and that was very early days. And the thing was then was the moon landings, because I had read about the moon landings, and as a photographer I'd looked at the photographs, and I thought, that's not right. They've never went to the moon. That's been filmed in a studio, like Burbank, California. I've been in California. So I studied the moon landings from 1995 right up till, well, I went to university in 1999, 2002. In 2002, I think it was, 9/11 happened. And people that had been studying the moon said, wait a minute, that's not right. You know? So they studied 9/11. I studied 9/11, and we realised it was just fucking bullshit. So we're getting fed all this bullshit. And people say, but why would they tell you the Earth was a round spheroid ball? Well, Up till 500 years ago, everyone believed the earth was flat. The Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, the South American medieval people, they all knew it was flat. And then NASA and their gang came out with this ball earth concept. I mean, the biggest joke is that recently Elon Musk put out a car into space, and people are buying it. People are buying this story. I mean, the curvature you see, the ISS, the International Space Station, it's all just bullshit, CGI pictures, computer-generated images. I work Photoshop all the time. I can do better images than NASA. They do the space anti-gravity things, and there's a plane you can go up and you can pay a $5 or something, you go up in this plane and it goes, it dips